While many families today face skyrocketing heating bills every winter, our grandparents managed to stay warm throughout the cold season with virtually no electricity. Without modern appliances, they relied on incredibly simple yet clever tricks. From placing hot soapy water under blankets overnight to using earthenware pots placed over candles to radiate warmth, or harnessing the heat from compost piles to warm the entire house. In this video, let's explore 35 electricity-free heating tricks our grandparents used. Masonry heaters built of brick or stone. This was the warm heart of old homes, where heat was stored and cherished like a family treasure. These structures consist of an elaborate system of thick brick or stone built to absorb heat from a small but extremely hot fire that burns for just an hour or two. Once the fire is out, the massive thermal mass of the stone and brick begins to slowly radiate warmth into the space for 24 continuous hours without needing another piece of wood. Completely different from modern metal stoves that heat up fast but cool down just as quickly, masonry heaters act like a durable thermal battery, maintaining a steady temperature through the longest winter nights. This incredible heat retention has been proven by our grandparents over centuries. Terracotta pot heaters. With just a few old terracotta flower pots, our grandparents could turn a tiny candle into a highly effective mini heater. First, flip a small terracotta pot over a tea-light candle, then cover it with a larger pot on the outside. The key is to leave small gaps for air to circulate, keeping the candle burning and heating the clay layers. Clay retains and radiates heat much longer than metal, helping warmth spread evenly throughout the surrounding space. It's a perfect alternative to today's personal electric heaters, especially when you want to warm your hands or a small corner of the room. However, always remember to check the ceramic material carefully to avoid cracks or explosions caused by sudden high temperatures during use. Harnessing solar energy. Have you ever wondered why so many old houses have large south-facing windows? It's not a coincidence. It's an incredibly smart way to heat a home. Previous generations took advantage of daytime sunlight to warm their houses completely for free. The principle is simple. Place large windows facing south to catch the sun all day long. Inside, use materials with high thermal mass like stone, brick, or tile flooring. They absorb heat from the daytime sun and slowly release it as the outside temperature drops. Open the doors between rooms to let the warm air circulate naturally, and when night falls, pull thick curtains shut to keep the heat from escaping. Even small details like painting walls a darker color can significantly increase heat absorption. No electricity, no fuel, just position the house correctly and let the sun do the rest. Heated bricks. Before rubber hot water bottles existed, our grandparents used a classic yet still valuable hack: heated bricks. Solid bricks would be heated in the oven until they reached about 300 degrees Fahrenheit, then wrapped carefully in several layers of thick towels. At bedtime, these warm bricks were placed at the foot of the bed to provide deep, continuous warmth for the body throughout the long night. Bricks can hold heat for a very long time, even longer than hot water, helping people withstand the longest and harshest winter nights. This is a permanent heating tool that never breaks or leaks, standing in stark contrast to our modern electronic gadgets. Soapstone heaters. Soapstone is often called nature's thermal battery because of its magical ability to hold heat like few other stones can. Families from the last century knew how to heat these soapstone blocks near the hearth or in the oven, then wrap them in thick, cozy wool towels. The stones radiate a gentle, persistent warmth for 6 to 8 hours, keeping feet warm or providing heat under the blankets while sleeping. Additionally, soapstone is very safe, with no worries about malfunctioning or causing fires like today's electric heating pads. Best of all, these stones can be used thousands of times without ever losing their incredible heat retention ability. Solar heat absorbers. But what if we didn't just catch the sun, but actively captured and amplified its heat? Previous generations thought of that long ago and came up with the solar heat absorber. All it takes is a flat metal sheet, usually aluminum or steel, painted black to maximize heat absorption. This metal plate is mounted into a simple wooden frame with glass or transparent plastic covering the front to create a greenhouse effect. When the absorber is placed in a sunny spot, like against a south-facing wall or window, the black surface heats up rapidly. The lighter hot air automatically rises, pulling in cold air from below and creating a continuous convection current. By adding a small vent at the top, you can channel that warm air directly into the house. It's a classic, simple, yet effective solution that turns even the coldest winter days into an opportunity for free heating from the sun. Rocket mass heaters. Known as the supercar of the wood-burning world, the rocket mass heater is a pinnacle of traditional heating engineering. This unique design allows wood to burn completely at extremely high temperatures inside an insulated combustion chamber. Then, the hot exhaust is channeled through a system of pipes tucked inside a thermal battery made of clay or brick before exiting. This thermal mass absorbs almost all the heat from the smoke and radiates it slowly over the next 12 to 24 hours. A rocket mass heater can save up to 80% more wood than conventional stoves while providing superior warmth. It's the perfect solution for heating large spaces with just a few dry branches gathered from the garden. Candle and brick heaters. Back when basements or storage cellars were common, old-fashioned families needed a way to generate enough warmth to preserve their goods. They did this by using a few bricks and some small tea light candles. First, they stacked the bricks in a square around the candles, then placed a metal baking tray on top to create a heat-absorbing surface. The bricks would slowly soak up the heat from the tiny candle flames and radiate it steadily, keeping the surrounding space from freezing. Though a candle flame is small, when combined with the mass of the bricks, it creates a significant source of radiant heat. This resourcefulness shows how people can adapt beautifully to the toughest circumstances. With just raw building materials, they created a mini heating system that was both effective and safe. Hay bale insulation. In our grandparents' time, straw wasn't just for barns. It could turn a rural home into a true warm haven. Families would often stack tightly compressed dry hay bales against the exterior walls of the house to create an incredibly thick layer of natural insulation. Straw has a hollow structure, allowing it to trap air and prevent heat from escaping while blocking cold air from entering. It is a sustainable, inexpensive, and extremely effective material compared to today's modern chemical foam insulation. When spring arrived, these hay bales could be dismantled and used as garden fertilizer, completing a closed resource cycle. If you find these heating tips interesting, hit HYPE now to support the video and share it with everyone. Thermal curtains. Did you know that windows are the easiest place for heat to escape the house, especially on windy winter nights? To stop this, women in old households use thick thermal curtains, sewn from multiple layers of wool or velvet to create a solid barrier. These curtains were usually hung close to the frame and reached the floor to block drafts and keep warm air from leaking through the cold glass. During the day, the curtains would be opened wide to let the sun in, and as soon as the sun set, they were sealed shut to protect the family. Instead of investing in expensive triple-pane glass systems like we do now, Grandma's handmade curtains did the job perfectly. This simple method significantly reduced heating costs without needing complex glass technology. Bubble wrap, window insulation. A cheap but surprisingly effective hack Grandpa often used was insulating windows with bubble wrap. By spraying a little water on the glass and pressing the bubbly side of the wrap against it, you create a great heat-blocking air pocket. These tiny air pockets act as an excellent insulation buffer, significantly reducing heat loss to the outside environment. Even better, light can still shine through, keeping the house bright without losing that necessary warmth. Previous generations often applied this to hallway windows or less frequented areas to optimize heat retention. This is the budget version of modern insulated glass that any of us can easily do. Heating with compost or animal manure. It might sound strange, but compost piles and animal manure were a massive source of free heat for old farms. The natural decomposition of organic matter can generate a huge amount of heat, sometimes reaching 140 to 160 degrees Fahrenheit. Grandparents harness this energy by running water pipes through the compost pile to heat water or ducting warm air into barns and greenhouses. The breakdown of fresh manure mixed with straw provided steady, continuous warmth for months without any human intervention. While this method requires careful preparation in the right space, the energy efficiency it offers is incredibly impressive. It didn't just warm living spaces, it protected livestock and crops through the harshest winters. Door draft stoppers. The fabric snakes lying at the foot of the door are a familiar and dear image from many people's childhood memories. These are actually door draft stoppers made from fabric tubes stuffed with dry rice, sand, or even rolled up old towels. Mothers would often hand sew these tubes from leftover fabric scraps, helping to keep the house warm while adding a rustic charm. They were placed snugly against the bottom of the door to seal gaps where cold air leaked in and warm air escaped wastefully. The effectiveness of these handmade items was sometimes better than modern plastic draft guards because they had weight and conformed perfectly to the floor. This resourcefulness reminds us that sometimes the most effective solutions come from the simplest things right at our fingertips. Insulation with rugs. Freezing wooden floors every morning are a nightmare for anyone unless you have grandma's thick wool rugs laid out. This is a highly effective traditional method to stop heat from escaping through the floor and block cold from rising from the ground. Thick wool rugs or rugs with padding not only provide comfort for your feet, but also create a thermal barrier, making the room feel much cozier. Today we have complex electric floor heating systems, but old wool rugs still offer an unmatched natural beauty and warmth. Grandparents usually chose rugs made of natural fibers to optimize heat retention and durability over time. Layering different rugs also helped with soundproofing, creating a quieter and more intimate living space. Using old newspapers to keep warm. Before modern insulation paper or foam existed, old newspapers were every family's cheapest winter coat. From the 1920s to 1950s, a daily newspaper in the U.S. cost only about 1 to 2 cents. Even during the Great Depression, many families kept newspapers for an entire year to reuse them. Grandma would layer the papers and stuff them into door cracks, line them under rugs, place them behind window curtains, or even tuck them between 2 layers of blankets. Thanks to the structure of stacked thin paper, the newspaper layers created a series of tiny air pockets that blocked cold winds and held heat extremely effectively. It wasn't pretty or fancy, but it was incredibly practical. In many cold regions, old newspapers were used to wrap bed legs, line shoes, or cover items that needed to stay warm. No money spent, no tools needed, and making use of what was already in the house. That was the mindset of the previous generation. To them, a newspaper wasn't just for reading the morning news. It was a smart way to stay warm and help the whole family survive the harshest winter days. Reflective layers behind radiators. This is a small detail that can increase heating efficiency by up to 40%, yet many modern designers overlook it. It involves a layer of aluminum foil or reflective insulation taped directly behind heating devices to push heat back into the room. Without this reflective layer, the wall behind absorbs most of the heat wastefully instead of spreading warmth to the people. This small hack helps the room heat up faster and stay warm longer without consuming any extra fuel. This is a classic example of using simple physics to smartly optimize daily life. Sadly, modern systems often skip this detail, leading to unnecessary energy waste all winter long. Fireplace reflectors. Traditional fireplaces look cozy, but they have a fatal flaw. Most of the heat generated goes straight up the chimney. So, instead of burning more wood, old-fashioned families knew how to capture that wasted heat. With just a thin metal sheet curved and placed behind the fire, the way the fireplace functioned changed completely. This reflector caught the heat from the burning logs and pushed the warmth back into the room instead of letting it be sucked outside. As a result, the heat output wasn't just higher, it went in the right direction, toward the people sitting by the fire. This solution increased the actual heat output for the home by up to 40% without requiring a single extra stick of wood. The room warmed up faster and more evenly, while wood consumption dropped significantly. Chimney blockers. Did you know that an unsealed chimney is like a giant hole, constantly sucking all the warm air out of your house? To prevent this, grandparents in the past used chimney balloons or specialized blockers to seal the opening when the fireplace wasn't in use. Blocking the chimney prevents up to 80% of heat loss and stops cold drafts from pouring in from above. This is an incredibly simple maintenance step that many modern families forget, leading to skyrocketing heating bills. Always remember to remove this blocker before you light a new fire to ensure smoke can vent out safely. Haybox insulation. A haybox was essentially the electricity-free slow cooker for our grandparents. Before electric stoves or modern gadgets, this was a simple yet extremely effective way to keep food and items hot for hours. The method wasn't complicated. Grandma just lined a sturdy wooden box with hay, wool, or old blankets to create a thick insulation layer. Once a pot of water or a dish reached a boil, she placed it in the center of the box and covered it with more layers of natural materials, wrapping it tightly to minimize heat loss. Thanks to the natural fiber structure's ability to trap air, the heat was held inside for a long time. Food didn't just stay hot, it continued to slow cook until tender, ready to serve at any time of the day. This was an incredible energy-saving method, completely safe and totally independent of electricity or fuel. If you watched videos on this channel before, leave a comment saying, "I'm back," to let everyone know you've returned. Trombe walls. Have you ever heard of a wall that can act as a giant solar battery right inside your home? Grandparents built thick brick walls and covered the outside with a layer of polyglass to ingeniously trap hot air between the two materials. During the day, the wall absorbs heat from the sunlight, and at night, it slowly radiates that warmth deep into the family's living space. This system maintains a comfortable indoor temperature all night long for absolutely free. It's a perfect blend of architecture and thermal physics that modern homes are starting to adopt again to save energy. A properly designed Trombe wall can significantly reduce heating costs throughout the long winter without complex maintenance. Radiating barrel heaters. This is how 20th century families squeezed every bit of heat out of an old wood stove to warm larger rooms. Instead of letting the heat rise and vanish, Grandpa attached a large metal drum directly above the stove body, significantly expanding the heat radiating surface area. When the fire burned below, this metal mass absorbed heat like an energy storage tank. The warmth no longer escaped too quickly. It was held and then radiated evenly throughout the space. Even after the fire died down, the barrel continued to give off heat for a long time, helping the house stay warm without burning more wood. It was a rustic innovation, entirely of Grandpa's own design, but everyone could feel the effect. Even the furthest corners of the house were no longer freezing cold. Hot water bottles. Hot water bottles with their legendary red rubber shells were the winter doctors Grandma always trusted to care for the family. Every night before bed, she would fill the bag with hot water, wrap it in a soft towel, and place it at the foot of the bed or on her lap. The slowly spreading warmth improved circulation, chased away the chill in the feet, and let the body fully relax. Because of this, sleep came easier and deeper, even on the coldest winter nights. Compared to electric blankets or hand heaters, hot water bottles are cheap, safe, and don't depend on power. And perhaps the feeling of tucking your feet onto that warm bag under a thick blanket is one of winter's simplest joys, something those who have experienced it will never forget. Indoor tents or blanket forts. Setting up an indoor tent or creating blanket forts wasn't just child's play. It was an incredibly smart way to stay warm. This small space allows body heat to be trapped effectively rather than wasting it to heat a large empty room. This is an extremely clever and practical solution in emergency situations when you don't have enough fuel or energy to warm the whole house. As kids, we were always excited to build these forts, never knowing it was a scientific heat retention tactic. Sitting inside a blanket tent, hearing the wind howl outside the window, truly felt cozy and safe. Vegetable oil lamps. With just a bit of vegetable oil and a cotton wick in a glass jar, old-time housewives created a slow-burning flame that was clean and much cheaper than kerosene lamps. These small lamps didn't just light up the space, they gave off enough heat to take the chill out of dark corners. This was a perfect backup plan when the family ran out of candles or rubbing alcohol in unexpected emergencies. Grandma used to say that this little flame was a symbol of hope and resilience, always burning bright even in difficult times. However, always make sure to place the lamp on a steady surface and keep it out of reach of children for maximum home safety. Isolating cold rooms. Whenever winter arrived, our grandparents never wasted heat on unused rooms. They would shut the doors and seal all the vents in empty rooms. They even hung thick blankets in hallways to prevent warm air from leaking into unnecessary areas. Focusing all the heat into the main living space helped the whole family feel much warmer with less fuel. Instead of wasting energy heating a large house, this method maximized the fireplace's efficiency. This was a smart survival strategy that required discipline and careful planning from the head of the household. Cast iron wood stoves. The most familiar image of warmth in every old home was the glowing cast iron stove in the middle of the kitchen. This stove handled two vital tasks at once. It was the central heating source for the whole family and the place to cook delicious meals. Grandparents usually used dry wood prepared over the summer as the main fuel, keeping the stove burning steadily and holding heat extremely well. The warmth from a wood stove brought stability and comfort to the living space, serving as a gathering spot for generations of family members. A good cast iron stove could serve a family for decades with almost no breakdowns or need for complex electronic parts. Enjoying this video? Like and subscribe for more. Not feeling it? A like would still be appreciated, and your comments will help me do better next time. Compact house design with low ceilings. Have you ever wondered why our grandparents' houses often had ceilings much lower than today's standards? It was actually a very simple physics secret that yielded massive heating benefits. By keeping ceilings low in common living areas, warm air was trapped exactly at the height where people were sitting or lying down. This significantly reduced the volume of space that needed heating, keeping room temperature stable and saving a lot of fuel. Modern houses with high ceilings look luxurious, but are an energy nightmare because all the warmth flies upward, far out of reach. This architectural creativity shows the foresight of previous generations who prioritized functionality and practical comfort above all else. Double pane or storm windows. Back in the day, to keep freezing winter winds out of the house, grandparents often installed an extra layer of protection called storm windows. This was essentially a second layer of glass or a second window attached to the outside of the main one to create an insulating air pocket in between. This air pocket acted as a barrier to prevent direct heat exchange between the cold outside air and the warm indoor air. This method completely eliminated drafts and significantly reduced heat loss through large glass surfaces. Additionally, these storm windows didn't just keep the house warm, they protected the main windows from the direct impact of snow, rain, and heavy winds. This is a durable and long-lasting mechanical solution, far superior to the thin window films commonly seen today. Coal stoves. In areas near mines, Grandpa often used coal to maintain temperatures because coal burns for a long time and gives off extremely intense heat. With just one full load of fuel, a coal stove could burn steadily for 12 to 24 hours, meaning Grandpa never had to wake up in the middle of the night to relight the fire. The stability and reliability of a coal stove brought absolute peace of mind to the whole family during long, deep freezes. Although coal isn't as common today, the image of a glowing red coal stove in the night always reminds us of the resilience and endurance of the previous generation. It teaches us about choosing the right energy source to optimize time and effort in our daily lives. Propane, or kerosene heaters. Since the old days, our grandparents kept these portable heaters as backups to quickly warm a specific space without waiting for a wood stove to get going. They run entirely on liquid or gas fuel and don't need to be plugged in, making them incredibly flexible for moving between rooms as needed. This is the perfect backup solution for sudden power outages or when you need to quickly boost the temperature in areas far from the main heater. This convenience allowed families to stay proactive in controlling the temperature and protecting everyone's health against unpredictable weather shifts. Whenever the heater was lit, the heat radiated quickly, bringing instant comfort and chasing away the surrounding chill. Gas lighting systems. In the past, wall-mounted gas lights weren't just for seeing. They were a quiet but significant source of heat for the room. Gas lighting systems could naturally raise the room temperature by 3 to 5 degrees Fahrenheit. Our grandparents knew how to maximize energy from a single source to serve two essential needs: light and warmth. While modern LED lights only provide cold light, old gas lights always gave off a gentle warmth and a cozy golden glow. This combination created a very distinct, cozy atmosphere, a place where the whole family could gather to read, sew, or chat on peaceful evenings. The trick of pouring water near vents. This is a subtle and clever hack from Amish grandparents to distribute heat more effectively in multi-story homes. They would often pour a little water into a small tray placed near floor vents, directly above the basement heating stove. As the hot air rose, the water vapor would rise with it, helping to distribute the heat more evenly into every corner of the room above. Additionally, this vapor acted as a natural humidifier, preventing the air from getting too dry due to continuous wood heating. Instead of using expensive electric humidifiers, this natural steam was better for respiratory health and completely free. Eternal copper candles. This is one of the many creative inventions grandparents used during power outages in the past. Instead of using weak wax candles that burned out quickly, the previous generation used a piece of copper tubing as a wick guide, combined with a carbon felt wick and rubbing alcohol or denatured alcohol fuel inside a sturdy glass jar. The flame from this copper candle burned incredibly steady and never needed a wick change. It could even put out enough heat to warm a small room up to 70 degrees Fahrenheit. The biggest benefit of this method was the eternal flame that didn't require frequent wick maintenance, making it a reliable source of heat and light in the most critical emergencies. You can feel the heat radiating from the copper tube as a testament to our ancestors' limitless creativity. Classic perfection, kerosene heaters. There are antiques over 100 years old that still work as powerfully and effectively as day one, epitomized by the perfection kerosene heater. Before electricity became widespread after the 1950s, millions of American families relied on these heaters to get through the winter. This portable heater could put out up to 10,000 BTUs and run continuously for 8 to 10 hours on just 1 gallon of oil. They were easy to maintain, extremely durable, and often cast beautiful light patterns onto the walls at night. The classic design of these heaters didn't just bring warmth, it was a nostalgic decoration for the home. Interestingly, to get rid of the characteristic kerosene smell, Grandma would often place a small bowl of white vinegar in the room, or spray a bit of vinegar when lighting or extinguishing the heater. Ondol system. Concurrent with the luxurious hypocaust system of Rome, the people of ancient Korea, South Korea, developed a different, more effective, and more practical heating solution, one that specifically had the ability to recycle heat from daily activities like cooking. Their traditional home architecture was often designed with the cooking stove called a gungi, placed in a lower room or outside the house. The hot air and smoke from cooking did not go straight outside, but were channeled through a carefully arranged network of horizontal stone flues, located directly beneath the floor of the main room. The main room floor was paved with thick, flat stones called gudjang, and these stones, having high thermal mass, absorbed the heat from the hot smoke like a massive thermal battery, retaining heat much longer than simple hot air. Even after the kitchen fire died out, this warm floor would still gently and steadily radiate heat for many hours. Ondol was a democratic, practical heating system used by all social classes, where all activities, eating, sleeping, working, took place on the warm floor. The brilliance of combining cooking and heating into a single process transformed Ondol into one of the most sustainable and long-standing heating designs in human history, an architectural legacy that Koreans still widely apply today. Shared wall with the animal, an extremely unique and astonishing architectural feature used by our ancestors, involved constructing the dwelling to share a wall with the animal barn, typically housing cows, horses, or sheep. This shared wall was often placed on the coldest north side to simultaneously utilize the warmth and block the wind. Each adult cow could emit heat equivalent to a small space heater, approximately 1,000 BTUs per hour, through its body temperature and breath. This natural continuous warmth from the livestock would permeate through the wall into the human living area. Although it sounds crude, this technique significantly helped farmers' rooms stay warmer, about 5 to 10 degrees Celsius, enough to make a difference for survival during winter. The shared barn wall feature is a testament to the absolute ingenuity and harmony between humans and nature, a practical solution based on observing and applying available resources to intelligently overcome the cold. Franklin stove. In the American colonies, in the 1740s, the traditional open fireplace was the main heating method, but it was extremely wasteful of fuel and often smoked up the house. It was in this context that the genius Benjamin Franklin invented the cast-iron Franklin stove, a major breakthrough in home heating technology. The Franklin stove was a metal-lined firebox, designed to be partially placed into the existing fireplace, but what made the difference was its slanted chimney design and the use of an air chamber to channel hot air for increased convection, making it one of the first warm air stoves. Thanks to this convection mechanism, the Franklin stove heated air more efficiently and then distributed the heat into the room instead of letting a large amount of heat be sucked straight up the chimney and escape outside. This design allowed the Franklin stove to provide more heat with less wood, while significantly minimizing smoke and soot entering the room. The Franklin stove quickly became popular throughout the American colonies and was the direct predecessor of later modern metal stoves, a great legacy demonstrating the pragmatic intelligence of early American founders. Bed warmer. The bed warmer was an innovative personal heating solution, focusing on the sleeping area. It was a shallow pan made of copper or brass, with a lid and attached to a long handle, about 3 to 4 feet, allowing the user to operate it remotely without having to bend over too much. This pan was filled with hot coals, carefully selected and slightly cooled to prevent fire, then quickly and skillfully slid back and forth between the layers of sheets and blankets, warming the bedding to a comfortable temperature. This solution helped eliminate the moisture and cold accumulated in the bedding, warming the sheets by 20 to 25 degrees Fahrenheit, about 11 to 14 degrees Celsius, in just a few minutes, providing instant comfort when people climbed into bed. This was a personal heating solution that did not heat the entire room, but focused only on the most necessary area, showing attention to individual comfort even under scarce conditions. This feature, although simple, clearly demonstrates the creativity and ingenuity of our ancestors in transforming simple materials into essential tools for daily survival. The hypocaust system, ancient Rome. Around the 1st century BCE, the Roman elite constantly sought the ultimate in luxury and convenience. They desperately wanted a smoke-free heating system, one far superior to the traditional open fireplace, which was messy and inefficient. This need gave birth to the hypocaust, an engineering marvel far ahead of its time. The house was built with a hollow space under the entire floor, supported by small brick pillars called pilae, forming a mysterious network of chambers beneath where we walk. The large furnace, prefernium, where wood was constantly burned, was placed outside the house to avoid smoke. The hot air and smoke generated from the furnace were then channeled into this hollow space, passing through carefully calculated openings, heating the tile and concrete floor to the perfect temperature, creating warmth radiating from the feet up. Romans even used hollow bricks, tubulae, to channel the hot air through the walls before exiting the chimney, creating a sense of enveloping warmth from all sides. This mechanism of even heating provided stable temperatures, an idea truly ahead of its time. The hypocaust is the original prototype of the underfloor radiant heat system we praise and use widely in modern luxury architecture today, proving the incredible physics, insight, and vision of ancient Roman architects. Potbelly stove. Entering the 19th and early 20th centuries, coal became cheaper and more popular than firewood in America, prompting the arrival of the cast iron coal stove, also known as the potbelly stove, which replaced the open fireplace due to its superior convenience and efficiency. These were the distinctive potbelly stoves with a bulging lower body, made entirely of heavy cast iron, a material highly capable of absorbing and radiating heat. The coal stove could burn coal, providing stable, high-intensity and prolonged heat much longer than wood, because coal burns slower and hotter, allowing warmth to spread throughout the room for a long duration with a single fuel refill. Users manually loaded coal into the stove, and heat would then radiate out directly from the hot cast iron shell. These stoves were a familiar sight not only in ordinary homes, but also in railway stations, post offices, and schools across America, marking the period when coal surpassed wood to become the primary heating fuel. The potbelly stove was a crucial step in transitioning from traditional wood heating to using fossil fuels, bringing greater convenience and thermal efficiency to the community. Rumford fireplace. In the late 18th century, specifically the 1790s, Count Rumford, real name Benjamin Thompson, a brilliant inventor and scientist, recognized that the open fireplace was still too wasteful and produced too much smoke, and he decided to radically improve the fireplace architecture. He designed the Rumford fireplace with a structure that was taller, shallower, and had angled sides instead of being traditionally straight. This unique structure was scientifically calculated to strongly reflect heat out into the room through the principle of radiation, rather than letting the majority of heat be sucked straight up the chimney, as with older fireplaces. Rumford also refined the chimney throat to be narrower and placed higher, helping smoke exit more efficiently and creating just enough draw without heat escaping too quickly, significantly minimizing smoke backing up into the room. Rumford's design made the fireplace cleaner, hotter, and much more efficient than old designs, becoming a small revolution in home architecture. The legacy of the Rumford stove is that the idea of heat reflection became a basic principle in fireplace design, and later widely applied in other heating devices such as modern radiant heaters and ceramic stoves, proving the intelligence of optimizing architectural geometry. Double-wall brick houses. In the early 20th century, as more modern building materials began to emerge, our grandparents realized that single-wall construction was not effective enough to retain heat. Therefore, they developed the technique of double-wall brick houses, an intelligent solution based on basic physical principles. Instead of building a thick single brick wall, many houses were constructed with two parallel layers of solid brick or concrete, and the crucial element is a narrow sealed air cavity between the two layers. This static air cavity, non-moving air, between the two walls acted as an extremely effective natural insulation layer, preventing heat transfer from the cold outer layer to the warm inner layer. The introduction of the double wall helped minimize condensation and kept the wall dry, increasing the durability and lifespan of the house. The physical principle is that static air is an excellent insulator, much better than solid material. This technique helped the house stay warmer in winter and cooler in summer, marking the transition period between purely manual construction and the application of basic physics principles to optimize the house's energy performance. Central hearth. After the mighty Roman Empire fell, most of Europe reverted to simpler, more practical heating solutions. The hearth was not just a source of heat, but became the central point of social life, cooking, and survival in the home. The major difference from modern fireplaces is that the medieval hearth was not tucked into a corner, but stood proudly in the very center of the main room of the house, often built within large communal halls. This strategic central position helped it radiate heat 360 degrees across the entire space far more efficiently than a wall-placed fireplace, ensuring warmth spread evenly throughout the house. The stone and bricks surrounding the hearth would absorb heat, thermal mass, throughout the burn time and continue to slowly radiate warmth for up to 12 hours after the fire died down. Maintaining a comfortable indoor temperature all night without constant tending, smoke from the fire would slowly exit through gaps in the roof. The hot smoke not only warmed the attic space, but also served as a natural pest control system, deterring insects and especially helping to preserve food, like cured meat, hung on the rafters. The central hearth was truly the heart of the medieval home, the place that sustained life, where the entire family gathered, shared stories, and weathered the frigid winter days, showing the intelligence behind optimizing every function of the fire. Stone walls. During the medieval period, 13th to 15th centuries, castles, fortresses, and monasteries were constructed using massive stone blocks. The main purpose was not only defense against war, but also to cope with the cold climate and continuous drafts. These stone walls could be 6 to 12 feet thick, equivalent to 1.8 to 3.6 meters. And this colossal mass of material transformed them into excellent natural thermal batteries for the home. During the day, when the large fireplace burned or when the rare winter sun shone, these thick walls would slowly absorb heat from the surrounding environment and retain it inside. By night, when the fire died and the external temperature dropped to freezing, these stone walls would gradually radiate heat back into the room, maintaining stable warmth inside the living space, significantly reducing temperature variations. Thanks to their thickness and large thermal mass, the internal temperature remained stable, making the room considerably warmer than the outside, a resilient warming solution that required no continuous maintenance or added fuel. Canopy bed and thick curtains. Even in large houses equipped with a central hearth, individual bedrooms, especially those upstairs, often remained bone-chillingly cold, forcing people to seek a more effective and private solution for warmth. The canopy bed was not only a symbol of wealth and social status, but also an essential, forgotten heating feature in classical interior architecture. The bed was equipped with a tall wooden frame and enclosed by heavy thick curtains made of velvet wool or woven fabric, covering all four sides, creating a completely enclosed sleeping space. These heavy curtains served to create a compact microclimate, where the sleeper's body heat was effectively retained, preventing it from dissipating into the cold air of the room. Historical records indicate that the temperature inside the curtains could be 10 to 15 degrees Celsius warmer than the surrounding environment, a critical difference for comfort and health during long winter nights. This was truly the medieval version of a room within a room, where comfort and warmth came from heat trapping and absolute thermal isolation, demonstrating cleverness in using textiles to maximize personal warmth. The Chinese Kang bed stove. The Kang heated bed is an extremely efficient heating system used in the frigid regions of northern China, where winters are long and temperatures drop severely. This is a raised, hollow platform built of brick or straw-mixed clay, often occupying a large portion of the room, and due to its size, it became the focal point of all family activities. Similar to Korea's Ondol, hot smoke from the nearby cooking stove or fireplace does not escape straight up, but is routed through complex, winding channels inside the platform before being vented out through an external chimney, ensuring every possible unit of heat is utilized. The enormous thermal mass of the heavy clay platform slowly absorbs heat, thermal mass, from the hot smoke and then radiates a steady, pleasant warmth throughout the night without the need for continuous fires, allowing the family to sleep warmly through cold winter nights. Notably, the Kang was not merely a heated bed, it also served as the seating, work table, and communal center for the entire family, where they ate, chatted, and performed handicrafts, creating a cozy, multifunctional space. Documented as saving over 35% more firewood compared to using an open fireplace, the Kang system demonstrates our ancestors' ability to thoroughly reuse heat. Draft stoppers. To combat the cold wind manually, our grandparents used very simple but extremely effective solutions, turning textiles into temporary wind-blocking curtain walls. Before industrial insulation materials and perfectly sealed windows existed, drafts passing through gaps in windows and under doors were the #1 enemy, the main cause of precious warmth escaping. They used heavy velvet or wool curtains to completely shield large windows at night, as these thick fabrics could trap a layer of static air between the curtain and the window, significantly slowing heat transfer and preventing cold drafts from entering. Furthermore, they used rolled fabric, old towels, or old blankets stuffed into the bottom of doors and window cracks, creating homemade draft stoppers to seal every crevice, a small action that brought great results in keeping the room warm. The ingenuity in using fabrics and soft materials is the origin of modern weather stripping and double door systems, because the basic principle is creating an air barrier to retain heat. This action not only demonstrates intelligence, but also a spirit of saving and recycling materials no longer in use to serve the essential purpose of winter survival. Cast iron radiator. By the late 19th century, a small invention made homes cozier than ever: Nelson Bundy's cast iron radiator, born in 1874. People affectionately called it the Bundy Loop, which sounds simple, but it was the invention that ushered in the modern heating era. Wealthy homes often had a boiler placed in the basement, burning coal to create steam. The hot steam traveled through steel pipes up to each room, where these silent cast iron radiators stood radiating a gentle warmth. The curved cast iron tubes arranged in connected sections channeled the hot steam from the boiler downstairs. As the heat spread, the thick cast iron structure helped the Bundy Loop retain heat for a very long time, radiating steady warmth without drying out the air or making noise. Specifically, the curved sectional design allowed workers to easily disassemble and reassemble it. But then, as electric and automated gas heating systems appeared, these cast iron radiators gradually faded into oblivion, leaving behind the memory of the smell of old coal, the ticking sound of boiling water, and the warmth of a simple, resilient era. Russian brick stove, pechka. The brutal winters of the vast Siberian region demanded a heating system capable of maintaining stable temperatures for extremely long periods with just one fuel burn, like the pechka. The pechka is not a tiny fireplace, but a massive, multi-ton brick structure often located in the center of the house and acting as a dividing wall between rooms, integrating both a cooking area and an auxiliary heated bed. The superiority of the pechka lies in its complex internal design. Instead of letting hot gas escape directly like a normal fireplace, it is channeled through a labyrinth of winding smoke channels inside the brick structure, creating a long path that allows heat to be absorbed maximally. The huge thermal mass of the solid brick absorbs almost all the thermal energy, turning the stove into a giant heat accumulator, slowly absorbing and then gently radiating warmth throughout the space. With incredible efficiency, by only burning fire for a few hours, usually wood, the pechka stove could radiate steady, comfortable heat for 12 to 24 hours, helping Russians save effort and fuel, sometimes requiring only 1 or 2 burns per week. The Russian brick stove is the pinnacle of energy storage thinking in ancient architecture, demonstrating our ancestors' extraordinary survival ingenuity. Thatched roofs. In ancient times in rural areas, when building materials like fired stone or sawn timber were expensive and rudimentary, heat retention had to rely on readily available natural materials, such as the architecture of the thick thatched roof. Roofs made from dry straw or reeds, tightly compressed into an astonishingly thick layer, often about 2 feet thick, equivalent to 40 to 60 centimeters, a depth rarely seen in modern roofing. The structure of the compressed straw created thousands of tiny trapped air pockets, and these static air pockets acted as an excellent natural insulation layer, effectively preventing heat transfer. This thick air cushion served 2 main purposes: First, preventing warm air from the fireplace inside from escaping, and second, stopping the cold and frost from outside from infiltrating the living space. A quality thatched roof, installed correctly, could reduce heat loss by up to 50% compared to other roofing materials of the time, and it also helped keep the house cool in summer. With proper maintenance, a thatched roof can last up to 60 years. The thick thatched roof proves how intelligent ancient construction was in utilizing local materials to achieve incredible thermal performance. Double-paned windows. After wall and ceiling insulation solutions were significantly improved, engineers realized that windows were still the biggest source of heat loss, where warmth escaped and cold air entered. To solve this problem, double-paned windows and the storm door became essential architectural features of the modern home during the mid-20th century. Double-paned windows consist of 2 layers of glass installed parallel, and what makes them effective is the sealed air or inert gas gap between the 2 layers. This airspace acts as a second effective insulation layer, significantly slowing heat transfer from inside to outside. Similarly, a storm door is a second door installed outside the main door, creating an air buffer chamber between the 2 doors. This system helps reduce 30 to 40% of heat loss through windows, limiting condensation and drafts, which were the nightmares of winter. In cold regions of the US and Europe, double-paned windows and the storm door symbolized safe winter, when the house was meticulously protected, sealed off from frost, and heating costs were saved. Modern radiant floor heating system. Starting in the 1950s, with the introduction of flexible plastic materials and efficient water pumping systems, the Roman hypocaust and Korean Ondol systems were modernized and made much more convenient. They were reborn as the modern radiant floor heating system. It maintained the principle of heat transfer from below, but instead of using hot smoke from a furnace, it used heating resistance wires or hot water pipes, hydronic system, carefully installed directly beneath the finished floor layer. Heat is radiated in the form of radiation, radiant heat, a thermal waveform that warms objects and people directly, rather than just heating the air like traditional forced air systems. The superior advantage of this method is that it is silent, creates no drafts, and provides a feeling of warmth from the feet to the heart in a more natural and comfortable way. The return and popularity of radiant floor heating prove that the quality of warmth our ancestors created thousands of years ago, deep warmth that warms the bones, is still something modern technology strives to replicate and perfect. The Swedish tile stove, kakelugn. In the 18th century, the Swedes adopted the Russian heat-storing brick stove idea and refined it to a new level, creating the exquisite kakelugn tile stove. The kakelugn maintained the heat storage principle by using a sophisticated internal design with precisely calculated air ducts to recover maximum heat from smoke and hot gases, but its most unique feature was its exterior. Instead of rough brick blocks, the outer shell of the kakelugn was covered with ornate ceramic tiles. It often featured white or pastel blue colors, transforming the heating device into a piece of interior art. This ceramic layer was not just decorative, it also served as an intelligent thermal regulator. It absorbed heat and then radiated it outward much more slowly and evenly than regular brick, preventing the temperature from rising too quickly and then dropping suddenly. This slow and stable heat radiation created what engineers call gentle warmth, never too hot to touch and extremely comfortable for the living space, distinctly different from the occasional scorching heat of an open fireplace. The Swedish tile stove became a symbol of convenience and Scandinavian aesthetic taste at the time, proving the harmonious combination of sustainable heating technique and family architectural art. Wall-to-wall carpeting. From the 1940s to the 1970s, wall-to-wall carpeting became immensely popular in the US and Europe, not just because it symbolized post-war comfort and affluence, but also because it was an essential warming feature whose original purpose we have forgotten. Thick, soft carpet made of wool, felt, or synthetic fibers was laid wall-to-wall in living rooms and bedrooms, covering the cold wood or concrete floor underneath. This thick, soft layer had the dual function of blocking the cold air from rising from the floor, which is the coldest point in the room, and keeping feet warm, providing instant comfort. Carpet also acted as an additional insulation layer, significantly reducing heat loss from inside the house down to the foundation, which was especially important as central heating systems became common and needed to maintain stable temperatures in every corner. In the evolving central heating era, carpet served as the final insulation layer, helping warmth distribute more evenly, while also reducing noise, creating the feeling of a modern home and affluence that the previous generation had longed for after the war. Wall and ceiling insulation, fiberglass insulation. In the 1930s, chemical technology and materials engineering provided a safe and effective insulation solution called fiberglass insulation. Fiberglass was manufactured into thick sheets or rolls, then scientifically and densely lined into walls, ceilings, and attics, creating a dense physical barrier containing billions of tiny air pockets. These air pockets performed an excellent insulation function, keeping warm air from escaping and preventing cold from entering, controlling heat transfer scientifically. Throughout centuries, crude insulation materials like sawdust, straw, or old newspapers had been used, but they were ineffective, prone to settling, and posed high fire risks, forcing scientists to seek a safer and more sustainable solution. The introduction of fiberglass made heat retention a scientific factor measured by R values, no longer just a feeling. Gas and oil central heating system, 1910s to 1970s. Finally, we arrive at the pinnacle of convenience and automation in family heating, the gas and oil central heating system. This system became widespread from about the 1910s to the 1970s. Before that, heating was a continuous manual chore, requiring wood or coal to be loaded into each room individually. The Industrial Revolution and the expansion of the natural gas pipeline network allowed people to completely transition from localized heaters, like the coal stove, to heating the entire house from a single source. The furnace, often humbly placed in the basement, used oil or gas as its main fuel, rapidly heating the air inside. It then transferred the heat through a complex network of air ducts hidden in walls and floors to distribute this warm airflow to every corner, every room. The important characteristic and mechanism of this system is the combination with forced air fans. The furnace heats the air and pushes this warm airflow to all rooms through the duct system, creating a stable, even temperature throughout every corner. The introduction of the thermostat was also a huge historical turning point. It allowed our grandparents to control the temperature automatically. They only needed to set a number, and the house would maintain that warmth without having to wake up in the middle of the night to load more coal or wood as before. Astonishingly, this seemingly simple feature became the foundation of the modern HVAC system we use today. It marked the complete transition from the ingenuity of survival, relying on human effort, to the convenience and automatic control of the technological era, helping people no longer struggle against the bone-chilling cold. In 1940, only about 15% of U.S. housing had central heating, but by 1960, an estimated 66% of all housing units built in the U.S. had central heating installed. The trend was clear. The era of having a separate stove in every room was over. Central heating had become a standard feature for comfort and convenience. The electricity-free heating hacks our grandparents use still amaze us with their ingenuity and wonderful creativity. If you found this video helpful, please hit like, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you don't miss the next ancient secrets. And if you want to discover how grandparents in past decades cooked baked cereal porridge in coal ovens, honey-stuffed potatoes kept warm all day, or meals that were eaten once but kept you nourished all week, don't miss the video, 25 Cheap Meals Our Grandparents Ate to Survive. It will surely surprise you and make you want to try them right away.